Hello there, this is James from Scared Sheetless. This is my very first video, so I am not going to be doing the usual more macabre, scary YouTube thing, right, where I talk in a scary voice and, stuff like that. It's just not my character. So I'm just gonna be straight up just giving you some of my experiences with the paranormal, whether it's by myself or with my paranormal investigation team that is no longer active, has been active in a very long time. But we had a lot of adventures, that's for sure. So the first video I'm going to do is an EVP, which stands for Electronic Voice Phenomena. Video. This is a clip. I posted this years and years ago on another YouTube channel I have. But I'm trying to separate things, like that channel's for this, and this channel's for that, and that channel's for this. I'm getting way over my head here, having so many YouTube channels. But I did want to start talking about the paranormal again because it's something that I've always been attached to. Sometimes not attracted to, but most of the time attached to for some reason or another. And this video is going to be no different. So to give you a background story, so what happened was this EVP comes from probably 15 years ago, which is probably why I sound a lot younger. Because, geez, I was probably in my early 20s when I did this. Now I'm in my mid-30s. So background story, where I live, I have a garage, and there's always been, like, strange things that happen in the garage. It's kind of specifically happens either in my garage or at my aunt and uncle's house. They live next door to me, so it's my house, the garage, and then their house. And it's almost like their house and the garage is kind of like Spook Central, if you will. There's always weird stuff happening. The garage is probably like the epicenter of it, I'll go into more detail about other stuff that's happened at the garage, so because I'm trying to keep everything as a singular adventure, if you will, not go off on a tangent, but so yeah, this EVP comes from like a mini investigation. It was me, my cousin, and his friend. They went upstairs, so there was downstairs and upstairs in my garage. They went upstairs and actually got a lot more spookier results, while I was downstairs by myself in the dark. Lots of stuff to trip over and probably hurt myself, but thankfully didn't. But as you can hear, I ask the question, did you die on this land? And then I actually get a response. Now, I've tried to turn up the response, but you're going to have to turn up your volume, but you can clearly hear someone yell no. So you'll have to listen closely. All these videos that I put up about, allegedly evidence of the paranormal, I'm not saying that is, to me, there's an explanation for everything. I always tell people I'm a half-ass skeptic. I want to believe, but I do think there's an explanation for everything. But you have to be like that. But anyway, so this is that video. I'm going to try and replay it a few times so that way you can really listen. And tell me what you think. Now, before I begin, I should have really wrote a script before I press record. My cousin listened to it, and he thinks it's his dad calling to his dog. But his at the time his dad had a dog named Max. I hear no. I don't hear Max. But you can let me know what you hear. But yeah, okay. Let's do that. Let me know what you think.
Now, I know this may be a sensitive question, but how'd you die? Did you die on this land? Now, I know this may be a sensitive question, but how'd you die? Did you die on this land?
Alright, so what'd you think of that? Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. I know there's something everybody says about this bell thingy to get notifications, so hey, feel free to click that too. No pressure, but it does help, and let me know, and the content I create, if you like it or not. So yeah, so thank you for watching. Take care, and please feel free to send me any suggestions on future videos. All right, take care. Bye-bye. Hey there, everybody. This is James from Scared Cheatless. Welcome to another EVP video. So this one is the same context as the last EVP, right where we're doing an investigation in my garage. This one is a little bit more creepier, I think, although the next one after this is even more creepier. It keeps ascending, the creepy factor. So yeah, just a quick rundown of the context. Me, my cousin, and a friend of his were doing an investigation inside my garage, which has always had weird going-ons in it, and so we did a little investigation, and this one, the last one, was from my recorder, and because I was by myself downstairs in the garage. This one is from my cousin and his friend who are upstairs in the garage. What's funny is during the whole investigation, we couldn't hear each other, even though I talked pretty loud. And he claims that, and my cousin knows how to tag things. So say if someone whispers something, usually in investigations you say, oh, tag whispering. So that way when you listen back, you're not going to mistake yourself or a friend or whatever, a co-investigator, as a potential spirit talking to you. So that's why it's always a good idea to tag whatever you do. Like if you're walking, tag it. If you're whispering, tag it. If there's a car going by, tag it. House selling, whatever. That way, when you're listening, you won't get confused or you won't assume something is paranormal while it actually really isn't. So he knows all that. And he claims up and down that, nobody said get out. So yeah. Okay, this went longer than I anticipated, but yeah, enjoy.
Dude, I just got an instant sweat.
What's interesting about this one is right after it says, get out, you can hear my cousin talk about how he just got instant sweat. I think he meant like a cold sweat or whatever. So I always found that really interesting. I kept grilling him like an interrogator. I'm like, are you sure you weren't trying to mess with me? And he's like, no, and he's not that type of guy. And he's actually always had a big interest in the paranormal too. So I don't think he would do something like that. So yeah, I just always found it interesting and kind of creepy that after you hear the get out, all of a sudden he says that. So I always found that kind of interesting. but yeah, I know you can't hear it. You can't hear it, but you have to really like listen. I remember listening to this on a stereo, so we were able to turn it up pretty loud, and that's how we could hear all this. But yeah, I've tried turning up the audio on here, but maybe it works. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's. I'll play it again. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do what Ghost Adventures does. Do like a lot of replays until you get it. But yeah, don't ever play a drinking game with that either. You'll get pretty tossed pretty quick. Um, but yeah, so I'll replay it a few times and let me know if you hear it or if you hear something else. All right.
Dude, I just got an instant sweat. Dude, I just got an instant sweat.
All right, so what'd you think of that? Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. I know there's something everybody says about this bell thingy to get notifications, so hey, feel free to click that too. No pressure, but it does help, and let me know, and the content I create, if you like it or not. So yeah, so thank you for watching. Take care, and please feel free to send me any suggestions on future videos. All right, take care. Bye-bye. Hey there, Graveyard Disciples. It's James here from Scared Sheetless. Thank you for watching this video. I'm supposed to say that at the end. Oh, well. I'm not going to do a retake. So this next video is another one part of the my Haunted Garage series. I know it's getting repetitive, but I do have some other videos in the works. They're a little bit more time consuming, while this one is just record the context portion, which is this, and then show the EVP, or have you listen to the EVP, I should say. So the context is basically the same as the last two EVP videos I've done. This was taken in the garage, my garage, and this one was captured by my cousin, who was upstairs in the garage while I was still downstairs, doing my own little EVP session. I'm kind of jealous. He got so much more than I did, and yeah. So I think this one is the last EVP of the garage that we've found, at least. I still have so much EVP, audio recordings and stuff to go through. They're like a decade back. But yeah. So anyway, oh, I lost my train of thought. I hate that. Trail of thought. There's a trail of thought, train of thought. I don't freaking know. But anyway, so yes, me and him, when we reviewed this, we believe it says, I don't want to go back there. I say it sounds like Rick. He says, I think he agreed too, but I think he also heard something else. I just forgot what it was. I should have asked him before I put this up, but God, this was 10 years ago. He probably doesn't even remember. But anyway, so I'm going to make this quick. Anyway, here's the EVP. I'm going to replay it a couple times or a few times, just so you can hear it. And you may want to turn your volume up as high as it can go. And then I'll replay it 3 times. The third time, then turn down your volume after the third one's done. Okay, anyway, here we go. Thank you so much for watching this. I completely appreciate it. I do have a link to the Scared Sheetless website, or Blogspot, I should say. And if you have any suggestions or anything like that for videos you'd like for me to do, just leave a comment below. And please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw. All right, folks, take care and keep it scary. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be reading an article I did on May 28th, 2011, so quite a while ago. This is from my website, Scared Sheetless. So Scared Sheetless, ncn.blogspot.com. I'll put a link in the description. And today we're going to be talking about my first paranormal experience. Okay, so let's get to it. The story takes place in Bethlehem, New Hampshire. And I am going to redact the road because this property has since become private property. So I do not feel comfortable giving the road that's located on. And, just in case, some hooligans or something go and try to mess with it or whatever. I'll get to that in a bit. But anyway, I first heard about the Cathouse from my cousin, who was a frequent visitor of the not-so-famous ghost destination back when the paranormal didn't fascinate me as much as it does now. The Cathouse is a rundown home that has been abandoned for more than 35 years, so I've been told. Back then, I was told that two women lived there, a mother and a daughter, and they mysteriously disappeared, allegedly. Not really. In reality, the older lady is or was in a nursing home. I'm assuming that by now she's probably deceased. And I have not heard of the supposed daughter's whereabouts. One thing is for sure, though, is that the older lady had a lot of cats. Some would estimate well over 100. Now, I'm a cat lover myself, mostly because I'm allergic to dog hair, but that's just ridiculous. I'd hate to see the cat food litter bill, even for it being that long ago. But fast forward years later, and the house is abandoned. I got an email roughly a year ago from a reader telling me she was actually inside the house and that it was a disaster. Papers, gross smells, and even a mummified cat was found in this home. But after my experience, I strongly believe that there is something more there. I've never been inside the house myself. Of course, this was at the time I wrote the article. I have been in there, and I'll get to that in another video. But an inside glance would show that the house is run down and vandalized. Most of the windows are smashed. The front door looks to be kicked in. There was an old car out front, but that's been recently removed. Did I believe it was haunted when I first saw it? No. I just saw it was an abandoned home and the kids breaking in have given it that haunted, scary look. One night when I was about 16 or 17, me and my cousin went to hell. You can find more about Bethlehem's version of hell on my website, and I will do a video on it eventually. And after we went to hell, we went to the Cathouse. This was an experience that I soon not forget, and it probably will take to my grave. We drove up beside the house, my cousin looking for a digital camera, and me just looking at the house. The house itself had this glow to it, not a ghostly glow, but as if the house was alive. My mind started to play tricks on me, or did it? I started to hear a cat's meow as if it was right next to me. I looked and there was nothing there but the cracked pavement on this old back road in Bethlehem, New Hampshire. My cousin found the camera, but no batteries. As we were looking for batteries, I remember that I looked into the glove compartment, and something made me look out of my cousin's window as the house is on the left side of the road. Standing in the doorway was an old lady. She had a dress on, looked early 20th century to me, and I couldn't really make out the face. The thing that got me, though, was her eyes, or where her eyes were supposed to be. They were bright blue. If someone took her eyes out and replaced them with, I say blue rubies, but I believe that is wrong. Wrong jewelry, because I believe rubies are red. But anyway, this was back in 2011, so it was both fascinating and frightening all at the same time. The only problem was she was still there. Even after a bit of me stared at her, she was still there, like she didn't care that the living saw her. This was me if she was indeed a ghost. After snapping a few pictures, we left, but what I saw has been on my mind for quite some time after that. I have had more experience thanks to my time with NEPI, which is Northeastern Paranormal Investigations, as well as other times as well. And I hope it never stops, but if I ever make a book on the paranormal, the first person I'm thinking of, the first ghost I'm ever thinking of, is the Cathouse spirit in Bethlehem, New Hampshire. All right, so that was a quick article. So, yeah, only 5 minutes of reading. To this day, I still remember it, 12 years later, or actually it'd probably be more than that, because that was 2011, so by the time I wrote that, I would have been, let's see, 21, 22. I would have been 23 when I wrote that article. I'm now 34. So yeah, it's I still remember it vividly, as you do with any other first-time experiences you've ever had in your life. I don't know if right now, as I've said in previous videos, I kind of consider myself a half-assed skeptic. I used to be a hardcore believer, but now it's like I want to believe, but I think there's an explanation for everything, and I've always had kind of ever since I was a kid, like an overactive imagination. So maybe it was the fact I really wanted to see something, and imagination took over reality. I don't know. But who knows? Stranger things have happened, and I've had a lot of strange experiences with my time with my former paranormal investigation team. They have since gone their separate ways and stuff like that. So haven't really had a paranormal experience in a long time. But the Cathouse is something else. Last I heard, so I've heard various things over the years. Some people have said it's been torn down, and then just recently, I was talking to a guy who lives on the road, and I asked him, I was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of the Cathouse?" And he's like, "Yeah, that abandoned house, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Right, that one." And he said, "Oh, it's some guy bought it. He's trying to renovate it." And I'm like, yeah, good luck with that. That's got to be a lot of friggin' money, and which it is. That place is, as you can see, I should have a picture of it up there right now. It's just, it's got to be a lot of work, especially considering I've been inside of it, which I do not condone, because now, like I said, this gentleman told me it's private property, and plus someone owns it now, so it's that was actually the only urban exploration I've ever done, and it was interesting. I'll keep it at that. I am going to do a video on the going inside of it, and try to find the pictures I've took of that. But other than that, it's it was a first for me, so I'll always remember it. So yep, that's gonna do it. Thank you so much for watching this. I completely appreciate it. I do have a link to the Scared Sheetless website, or Blogspot, I should say. And if you have any suggestions or anything like that for videos you'd like for me to do, just leave a comment below. And please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw. All right, folks, take care and keep it scary. Hey there, everyone. How are you today? Sorry if you can hear my fan in the background. It is really hot in New Hampshire today. So I was going to do a video on the town hall in Lisbon, but the problem is I'm not going to be able to get that out on time. I have the audio recorded, some select photos, but just not enough to do the video any justice. So I'm just going to move on with something that I can do relatively quickly, and that is another video on the Cathouse. I do thank everyone for watching the last video. It actually did pretty good, all things considered, and you actually gained some new subscribers because of it. So, hey, let's hit while the iron is still hot. Once again, I got to do an article reading on an old article of mine. Yeah, let's do that. So this one, it's called Journey into the Cathouse. I posted it on November 15th, 2012. So keep that in mind when I'm reading this. Here we go. The smell is what hits you first. I don't know whether it was just the musty smell of years of no maintenance, no washing, or that something died within the walls. The place is fallen apart inside and out, but the mystery of the Cathouse still remains hidden within the walls. If you ever read the story about the Cathouse, it is the first article I ever did for a newspaper back in 2009. I did a revision of the article about a year ago, 2011, that added some new details of the story. I also just did that video recently, so I will have a link to that in the description. Both versions are on my website, which you can find in the comments below. In this case, I will have a link to both articles in the description as well. The Cathouse hasn't really been an ideal ghost hunting spot until I did the revised article. It just seemed like everyone wants to flock to it now. I'm not tooting my own horn either. It could be a coincidence. But the idea of me causing it to be an ideal late-night fright flatters me. I can't deny that. On the inside, it looks like an ordinary abandoned house. But on the inside... Oh, that's a mess up. Let's redo that, shall we? Okay, we'll just keep that blooper in there. On the inside, it looks like an ordinary abandoned house. But on the outside, wow, that's a different story. This is why you got to proofread your stuff, man. But then again, this was published, so I guess it was the editor's fault as well. When you step foot inside, you are literally just stepping on heaps of junk. Papers, chairs, old appliances, old food still in jars or cans, and old records. That's one thing, and I'm diverting from the article for a second. That's one thing I can remember the most, is I remember walking on all this junk, all these papers. This person had newspapers everywhere. There was no room to walk. We had, whatever color the floor was, if it was carpet or what tiles or whatever, no idea. We didn't even see the floor while we were there until we went upstairs, but I think I mentioned that here. But that's one thing I remember, is the crunching sound. And looking down, seeing all these old records, I kind of felt bad, because I'm sure, they were historic or whatever. I didn't really read any of the labels, but I just kind of felt bad breaking them. But anyway, it doesn't seem like... let's get there. Okay. It doesn't seem like the ideal spot anyone would like to go, except teenagers maybe. But it was just a thrill to finally be in the house where I had my first paranormal sighting. Every corner of the house, there was something that told a story. How this person, whose nickname around these parts is said to be Timmy, must have been a hoarder. There's tons of old books, old furniture, some still in decent shape, and the old-time records haven't all been crushed to pieces, although I did help. It's sad, though, that people have vandalized the spot, because it was once someone's item and its spirits do exist. I wouldn't want to think they would want their personal items destroyed. To be quite honest, it doesn't really hurt my feelings if I went back in there or not. It was great to see the place on the inside, because now I have a better idea of what people meant when they told me this place is literally trashed. And, well, it's the famous Cathouse. Why would I want to check it out? But nothing went up in the night, but some felt that there was a presence there. It just was keeping its distance. As of this writing, I still have plenty of evidence to go through, but I will post pictures on my website, which I don't think I ever did. Please remember, I do not condone anyone to go into this house, especially now, because someone apparently owns it and they're renovating it, like I said in the last video. Actually, it will make me feel better if no one went in it. There's too many hazards and too much of a chance for an accident to happen. A little ghost hunter advice: use your head, because every inch is an obstacle while hunting. And, okay. So that's the end of the article. So yeah, I do. There's some things I didn't mention in the article. I have no idea why. Maybe it's because I was restrained for, because there's a word count when you do an article. It's not like you can write a book. It's like maybe 800 words or less that you can do, if I remember right. I think that was Trendy Times that had that rule. That was like 800 words. I have gone away with like, hey, can I do a little extra? But he only let me do that like maybe 2 or 3 times. But I wrote for that paper, I think, for 2 years. So some of the things I did mention was we had some kids with us, teenagers with us. Some of the investigators' kids brought their friends with them, and I remember there was a cellar or a basement, and you couldn't get down there because the stairs were just gone; they were destroyed. But they made like a makeshift staircase to go down there. I didn't go down, and I don't think we have any photos of what was down there. From what I've been told, there was like a bunch of food preserves in there, like food in jars, that kind of stuff. So yeah. Then I remember going upstairs, and the upstairs was actually not bad. It was in pretty good shape, all things considered. We could actually see the floor. It was like carpet up there or something. But downstairs, you could. There was no floor to be seen. I'm not joking when I said that. We don't know. We didn't see any floor. It's not like people made a clearing or anything. You were literally just stepping on trash, and I just remember old newspapers, like just the feeling of stepping on these stacks of newspapers to get through. And moving around at my size, even back then, isn't that easy because I'm a big boy. So, yeah, just, but even though I've had experience there, I didn't really feel anything. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. I did ask Anthony for who went there for any photos. I think he always sent me maybe 1 or 2. And there was one that he said you can see eyes in the window. I'll make sure to put that up there right about now. It should be there. But yeah, he said if you look in the window, you can see eyes. Not sure. Hey, could be. But, yeah. What else was I going to mention? This is why you got to write a script, or I got to write a script, so that way I get everything out of the way and I'm not just doing it out of the cuff. because it's funny when I okay, I just thought of it, but it's funny when I anyway, yeah. It's a problem with having a scatterbrain and trying to do YouTube videos. It's kind of like you go in different directions. But anyway, I do remember what I was going to say, and that is, I remember it had to be some visual for people going by, because we went to the Cathouse in Bethlehem with probably 3 or 4 vehicles, and the road that it's on is very narrow, like just very narrow country road. And I just remember we were upstairs and we had to, as soon as someone says kill the lights, you shut your flashlight off. Any lights that you have, you shut right off. No questions asked, no nothing. You do it right away. It's kind of a rule with ghost hunting, especially in a place where you could get into trouble. So we killed the lights, and I remember looking out the window and seeing a couple cars go by, and of course they were going slow, so they were like looking in. I'm sure they knew that we were in there, but we weren't partying or we weren't trashing the place. I mean, yeah, I know I said I broke a couple records, but that's because, like I said, you're stepping on stuff anyway. There's no way around it. But yeah, I just remember, I don't remember much. I mean, but I don't have to go back in there. It wasn't anything special, I guess. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Kind of thinking that more was going to happen, but nothing happened. I mean, like I said, the article, there was probably a few people who felt things, because we have empaths, I think they're called. People who supposedly can feel spirits. And, like the article said, they said they felt a presence, but it was keeping its distance from us. Take that for what you will. So the famous Cathouse, I was able to go into once, and yeah, got to experience this, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, I think I'm going to end that there. Just wanted to get something out this weekend. I kind of feel bad. I was doing a video on the Lisbon Town Hall, but I only had like a few photos. And like I said, I just didn't think that was going to do the video any justice. Just a static photo for like 5 minutes at a time just didn't sound appealing to me. So I contacted the Lisbon, New Hampshire town hall offices, the town clerks, to see if they could help me out, maybe send me a few photos to help me out with it. I would go in and just take photographs, but I don't want them to think I'm a weirdo. Anyway, that's where I'm going to end it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll have something ready for next week, and probably the Lisbon Town Hall video. All right, have a good one. Thank you so much for watching this. I completely appreciate it. I do have a link to the Scared Sheetless website, or Blogspot, I should say. If you have any suggestions or anything like that for videos you'd like for me to do, just leave a comment below. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw. All right, folks, take care and keep it scary. Greetings, Graveyard Disciples, and welcome to another edition of Scared Sheetless. Today I'm going to be talking about the Lisbon Town Hall, located in my hometown for the past 31 years, Lisbon, New Hampshire. A very small town of just, according to Wikipedia, 1,621 people. This is according to a 2020 census. That's funny. In my article I'm going to be reading from, This is from a census conducted in 2000. There was 1,587. Ooh, a big surge of a population there in the past 20 years. So this article I'm going to be reading today, which I wrote back, it was published on February 6, 2009. So let's get to it, shall we? Okay. Our story takes place in the center icon of the town of Lisbon, the Town Hall. The Town Hall began construction in 1901 after its predecessor, that was located on Main Street, was destroyed in a tragic fire of 1901. In 1902, the building was near completion and ready to be used. The Town Hall at one time even had a balcony, which altogether included the 700 seated below, could fit a grand total of 850 people. However, the balcony, which was also called the Golden Horseshoe, was eventually torn down in the 1950s, so it could be easier for those to play basketball. If you go to the town clerk's office and look to your right, on the town hall where there will be a picture of the balcony. Of course, when I was there asking questions about the town hall and also getting information of a paranormal investigation that took place there, I found myself observing the picture to see if I could see someone sitting up in the balcony. But nobody was in the picture, or that was visible to the eye at least. Ooh, spooky. I probably, just to interrupt my own article, if I published this in 2009, I probably did my investigating, quote-unquote, around the same time. It's been a while since 2009, so maybe that picture's been moved, but yeah. Let's get back to it. I've heard for about 10 years that the Lisbon Town Hall is one of the biggest haunted hotspots in the local area. I forget who told me the story first. I swear at the age of 20, I already have dementia. Buddy, I'm 14 years older now, and trust me, it gets worse past me. The original story of the cause of the haunted has now been deemed as false. But for those who didn't know the original story, here it is. One night, a worker in the 1950s hung himself off the staircase, and the rest, you could say, was a haunted history. But when I went to the town hall to further investigate this myth, nobody, not even the town clerk Charlotte, even knew about it, and she's been working there for 42 years. So like I said, the story is untrue. However, she did tell me that when she first started working there, she had the night shift and would hear someone walking down or up the steps when she was the only person in the building. The ghost does like to keep everyone on their toes, though, especially the police who are located on the ground level of the town hall, said that they could hear footsteps on the stairs above, and upon further investigation, they were the only ones there. There's also been other occurrences as well, such as during a third grade play, a girl saw a man sitting on the stairs, and when she asked her parents who that was, they saw nobody there, but the girl still could. Did the girl really see a spirit, or was it just those overreactive imaginations that kids tend to have? Who knows for sure? Finally, an investigation was called in, and the Northeastern Paranormal Investigators were the ones called, and on October 25th, 2008, how coincidental, 6 days before Halloween, the answers were finally going to be answered. I had the privilege of having a on-the-phone conversation with both NEPI co-founders Nancy Fortune and Tony Artolino about the case. They said they thought the case was a success, even though that the weather and the age of the building definitely played some factors in the investigation. The building is well over 100 years old, so of course it's going to creak and settle. But as Nancy said, that anyone can tell the difference between a house settling and human footsteps. Also, during one point of the investigation, they were upstairs, Nancy and another NEPI team member. Suddenly, they heard someone walking up the stairs at them. Keep in mind, nobody was downstairs. If that doesn't cause goosebumps or ghost bumps, I thought that was funny, then I don't know what will. Also, they brought motion detectors with them, and that also went off when there was nobody there. Neppy had a raffle and a meet and greet before the investigation went on, where 2 lucky winners, 1 male and 1 female, got to go on the investigation with them. According to Totally, they both saw a gray figure or a shadow. Now, when one person sees it and nobody else does, then of course anyone's going to be skeptical. But when 2 people see it, the chances of it being false just about goes out the window. Neppy hopes to do a second investigation of the town hall at one point. Spoiler, it's been 14 years, well, actually more than 14 years now, and I joined them later that year, 2009. We never did, which is too bad. Hopefully we do, so that way I can do a follow-up to this article. Better late than never, right? Okay, before I end this column, or video, I should say, I would like to thank Nancy and Tony for their time to explain how the investigation went. I have a feeling you'll be seeing a lot more of the Neppy crew in my future columns. That is an underestimate, my friend. They become a pretty prominent part in future articles. And then their website is no longer active. And actually, Neppy is kind of inactive right now, too. But yeah, that's the end of the article. A quickie there. So just a quick video. I do apologize for if you can hear the fan in the background. It is hot in New Hampshire today. I don't have the... Nope, wrong town. 65. Okay, yeah, that's not hot, but I know some southern folks who may watch this or probably not, and they're probably like, oh, that's hot to you? Yes, it is. We New Hampshireites like our cold, except for during the winter time. We get kind of sick of it pretty quick then. But yes, I see the town hall all the time. You'll see some pictures of it in this video. Not sure which one you'll be seeing right now, but I actually have some family history with the town hall. My grandfather, Richard, actually I have 2 grandfathers named Richard, so that's kind of hard, but the one with my last name, Parody, he actually painted the town hall, and he used to hang out with the sheriff there. They used to play cards, I believe, poker, most likely, or blackjack. I believe it was in the basement. I mean, my grandfather has passed away, so I can't verify with him. But yeah, he painted it once or twice. I don't know how many times, and hung out there. So so I have some family history there. Pretty good sized building. The gymnasium is probably the biggest part in there. But the fire station used to be there too, but that has recently moved. Other than that, I didn't really haven't really gotten too much feedback on there being much hauntings in there, but from what I could gather, there's definitely activity there. And I meant to mention that Charlotte did work there for quite a while after I wrote this article, but she has since retired. I don't know much else, because she was probably in her 70s or 80s when she retired. That was about, 5 to 8 years ago maybe when she retired. Very nice lady. And I thank her for help. She was a huge help when I was writing this article. She gave me a book to tell me the history about the town hall in Lisbon itself. She also gave me Nancy and Anthony's numbers so I could get a hold of them. Or actually, I think I may have emailed them on their website. I think she told me about the website. So So yeah, hey, if it wasn't for Charlotte, I would have never would have gotten hooked up with Neppy and had some fun with investigating with them. So yeah, so thank you, Charlotte. I'm pretty sure you'll probably never see this, but thank you all the same. So yeah, this article was pretty special to me because, like I said, it was my introductory to one of my local haunts. You know, Bethlehem is a town over for actually two towns over for me. Still local, but Lisbon's my hometown, so pretty cool to know that there's a couple local haunts here. But yeah, anyway, I'm terrible at ending these, so we're gonna call it there. Wow, 11 minutes. Okay. But yeah, in the description below, I do have a link to the article. I do have to rewrite a lot of it because as I was reading it, as I was going through it, I was like, oh my god, man. Yeah, I gotta redo this a little bit, but I made sure to make it at least make sense when I was talking on here. So yeah, a link to the article I just read will be in the description, as well as a link to Scared Sheetless. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching. And oh god, take a drink, damn it. And keep it scary. I'll have a new article, new video, I should say. God, switching from articles to doing videos has been quite the trip. But anyway, see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I am also open to suggestions for other haunted places, not just located in New Hampshire. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribing for more Scared Sheetless content. Have a good one, and keep it scary. Greetings, Graveyard Disciples, and welcome to another edition of Scared Sheetless.
With no further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let the show begin.
When you think of hotels, you may think of suites, a free breakfast, maybe even an indoor pool. From someone who's worked in hotels for a few years, that's commonplace, but some hotels come with extra amenities. Take the Mount Washington Hotel, for example. Beautiful on the inside as well as out. A hotel rich in history as well as those who've called it home for a few days in life and forever in death. This is the story of the Mount Washington Hotel, where most guests have checked out, but not all. Our story takes place in the beautiful scenery of Carroll, New Hampshire. Joseph Stickney, born on May 31st, 1840, in Concord, New Hampshire, collected a vast amount of wealth by investing in coal mining and was rich by the time he was only 30. In 1881, Joseph, along with business partner John Cunningham, purchased the Mount Pleasant Hotel, which has since been torn down and a motel currently resides in its former place. Stickney had a vision, and that vision was very close by, only across the street where his grand contribution to New Hampshire will be. Due to Stickney's hard work and dedication of giving his guests the best hotel experience he can, he made Mount Pleasant a success. In 1894, he would buy out his business partners and become the lone owner of Mount Pleasant. However, Stickney had a vision, a grander revelation of what he could do if he could build a hotel from scratch. And that vision was very close by, only across the street from the Mount Pleasant. This plot of land would be where his grand contribution to New Hampshire will be. His legacy was just within arm's reach. Work began in 1901 and was designed by architect Charles Alig Gifford to look like a Spanish Renaissance revival. The future New Hampshire icon would cost $1.7 million and was completed in 1902. Joseph's wife, Caroline Foster Stickney, fell in love with the new hotel. Unfortunately, their time spent in the hotel together would be short, because only 1 year after completion, Joseph would die on December 21st, 1903, at the age of 63. Carolyn was heartbroken over the passing of Joseph, but would soon remarry to a French nobleman. I'm not even gonna bother, so I'm gonna let Google Translate help me out here.
Amon de Faucety Loosing.
She married the prince in 1913. Almond owned hotels in Switzerland and France. They would spend their summers in New Hampshire and winters in Paris. He would also help Caroline run the hotel, Mount Washington as well. Carolyn would soon have to grieve for the death of another husband. Prince Almond would die on August 1st, 1922, in France at the age of 60. Carolyn moved back to the place she loved the most, her prized possession, the Mount Washington Hotel. She would continue running the Mount Washington Hotel and spending time there until her death at the age of 69 on November 2nd, 1936. Her nephew, Foster Rounds, took ownership of the Mount Washington upon her death. Carolyn is buried in the Stickney Mausoleum next to her first husband, Joseph, at Old North Cemetery in Concord, New Hampshire. Due to her being married to a prince, she was nicknamed the Princess of Mount Washington. And even though she died in Rhode Island, some say her spirit currently resides in her home sweet home at the hotel. She may be watching over the many new faces who inhabited her former hotel every year. Some eyewitnesses have stayed at the hotel, and you can even see a woman that's description strikingly resembles Carolyn, watching over everyone from the balcony. Some have reported hearing a romantic but ghostly melody from the depths of the hotel. In the tower suites, television channels will switch and tubs will run by themselves. Scents of perfumes and strange lights can also be seen within the hotel. Carolyn can be seen in room 314, nicknamed the Princess Room. Her personal quarters when she was in the hotel. She can be seen sitting on the edge of the bed that she shared with her husband, Joseph, brushing her hair. In 2015, a staff photo was taken, and some people say you can see a lady in a Victorian-era dress in the window of one of the rooms. Strangely enough, the window is directly below room 314. Is it the princess joining the photo? You be the judge. Other ghostly sights and sounds are a baby can be heard crying in the ballroom. Photographs get mysteriously slashed by unseen fingernails. A woman can be seen walking through walls. And if you're not of the ghostly kind and don't like to be spooked, guests have said to watch out for rooms 206, 217, 237, 425, and of course the princess's room, room 314. All of this has led to the higher-ups of the Mount Washington Hotel telling their workers not to tell ghost stories to the guests, but they do hint at them that some strange activity does go on. Question is, who could be haunting the hotel when neither Joseph Stickney nor the princess died even remotely close to the hotel? Records show that some other guests have checked in, but never checked out, such as Daniel Willis James. A wealthy metal merchant from New York had his last stay at the hotel, died at the age of 75 on September 13, 1907, due to a heart attack. Almost 10 years later, right on date, a guest by the name of Alfred Ed Beadleston died at the age of 69 due to intestinal hemorrhages. The hotel played host to many famous individuals, such as suspense and psychological thriller filmmaker Alfred Hitchcock, best known for the 1960 thriller Psycho, inventor and businessman Thomas Edison, and Major League Baseball legend Babe Ruth have all stayed at the hotel, at the Mount Washington Hotel. For you gamers out there, the Mount Washington Hotel is mentioned in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and Rift Cluster 3, which is basically unlocking secrets in the game, secret files, stuff like that. I remember playing this and feeling excited about New Hampshire playing a role in Assassin's Creed lore. Of course, it's not uplifting, as it was actually a secret meeting for the game's antagonist, the Templars. Yeah, oh well. At least New Hampshire gets some type of strange love, I guess. But anyway. On February 6, 2008, the popular sci-fi network show Ghost Hunters visited the hotel for a paranormal investigation. The results were astounding, to say the least.
Princess, can you at least let us know you're in here? Can you say something? Can you say something?
You know, I heard that with my own ears. It just does not surprise me.
For those of you who want to stay in one of New Hampshire's most beautiful hotels, then yes, the Mount Washington Hotel is a great destination for you. But if you're looking for a surprise or two around the corner, maybe don't mind sharing your room with a spirit or two, but this is definitely the place for you. The Princess of the Mount Washington Hotel will be eagerly awaiting for your arrival, and perhaps watching you from the balcony. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I am also open to suggestions for other haunted places, not just located in New Hampshire. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving a like, comment, and subscribing for more Scared Sheetless content. Have a good one, and keep it scary. Greetings, Graveyard Disciples, and welcome to another edition of Scared Sheetless.
With no further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let the show begin.
Not every ghost story's origins takes place in a haunted house. In fact, one of New Hampshire's most famous spiritual tales starts out at sea. While North Carolina may have Blackbeard, we have Mary Wallace, soon to be known in legend as Ocean-born Mary. But keep this in mind as a disclaimer, because it will be important later. There is a catch to this story. I first heard about the legend of Ocean-born Mary in Haunted New Hampshire, a book by Thomas D. Agostino. Most of the information in this video is from his book. But there is some information I gathered from other resources, and I will have those listed in the description below. Let's begin. Our story takes place on July 17th, 1720, as we set out to sea. A ship by the name of the Wolf is heading towards its destination, which is Boston, Massachusetts. James and Elizabeth Wilson are setting sail to the New World, the United States of America. And within the U.S. was where their new land was, their new home in Heineken, New Hampshire. Elizabeth was pregnant, and as the coast of Massachusetts came into view, Elizabeth gave birth. The newborn didn't have a name, though. She was just born, after all. This was about to change as the Wolf was taken hostage by pirates. Their leader, Don Pedro, a ruthless, dark, and, well, handsome pirate, got wind that there was a baby on board as Pedro went over to Elizabeth and James. The pirate who took them hostage asked them what the baby's name was. As Elizabeth said she was just born, there was no name yet. Pedro's demeanor changed from an intimidating pirate to a more kinder approach, and asked if she could name the newborn after his mother Mary. The Wilsons agreed, but Don had one more request before he came back, with gifts for the newborn. He presented Elizabeth with a silk dress and asked when Mary is to wed. He wishes she would wear this dress that he just gave him. Elizabeth told him she would make sure of it. I mean, what you gotta do? Are you gonna lie to a guy who's taking you hostage? Probably not. Probably not a good idea. Pedro left with nobody harmed and everybody's possessions returned. Sadly, it didn't take long after they landed safely in Boston that James died. Nonetheless, Mary grew up to be a tall, records show her at a 6'2", and a beautiful woman. In 1742, Mary got married to Thomas Wallace. Mary honored Don Pedro's wishes by wearing the silk dress at her wedding. Mary and Thomas had 4 sons and a daughter. After the birth of the youngest, Thomas died. As of that time, Don Pedro was retired from his pirate days and decided to settle down in Heinecker, New Hampshire himself. Long forgotten about ocean-born Mary, he decided to go and see what she made herself into. Feeling troubled about her being widowed, he begged her to be his housekeeper and promised to take care of her and her 4 children. Mary obliged, and Don Pedro was a man of his word. Don brought Mary and her children to his grand mansion on 6,000 acres of land. Mary and her children couldn't be happier as they lived in solace for a while. Don, however, being a pirate, had a curse, it seemed, and that curse was about to catch up to him. One night after Mary and her children went to bed, former chums of Don Pedro decided to pay a visit. Sadly, Don was about to come to realize that his mateys were not what they seemed. They killed Don by using a pirate's cutlass in the front yard of his home. His former mates must have ran, because once Mary got to his room where Don laid with a cutlass hanging out of his chest, the men were already gone. Don, with his final breaths, told Mary to bury his treasure under the hearth with him. Mary, a while before this tragedy happened, saw Don with a retired pirate, a friend of his, carrying a large black trunk out to the orchard. Mary honored Don's request to bury the treasure under the hearth along with Pedro. Mary lived a long and wonderful life right after that. She died in 1814. She only left in body, though, as some say her spirit remains in the house that her and Don Pedro shared. In the early 20th century, the house was open to the general public, and ocean-born Mary made her presence well known after that. A rocking chair would sway swiftly back and forth. Many said that this was Mary's own way of saying the visitors were welcomed. She has also been sensed near the hearth, as legend says she was always there, maybe making sure Pedro still had his prized treasure. Also, Hans Holzer, known for his book Ghosts of New England, which also has a chapter on ocean-born Mary, Mr. Holzer conducted a seance in the Heinecker home. Here is what Mr. Holzer had to say about the spirit of ocean-born Mary. This is a clip from the Travel Channel show, The Holzer Files.
Mary has eluded us for the moment, but we'll try once more. Perhaps Mary likes being a ghost. One of these days, perhaps, news will be made at ocean-born Mary's house.
Some Henniker residents have said that on every Halloween night, Mary's ghost can be seen coming out of the Henniker Center Cemetery, riding a horse-drawn coach, heading for her home. According to some eyewitnesses who have seen her ghost, they have said they see a beautiful woman who is tall with red hair and green eyes watching over them. However, fellow graveyard disciples, remember that catch I was talking about earlier in this video? Basically the beginning. Here is where the catch is, and I hate to disappoint you, but most of this story is fabricated. A lie. We've been... Well, I'll let this sound clip explain things a little bit better than I could.
It was a ruse, a ploy, a plot, a plan, a charade, a conspiracy, a sham. We've been conned, hoodwinked, bamboozled, flim-flammed, and the wool pulled over our eyes even.
Yeah, kind of a letdown, huh? A lot of it was a lie, but was all of it? No. Let's get to where this story goes from truth to fiction. The last truthful part of this story happens all the way back to where Mary's husband, Thomas, dies. After that, it's all fictional from here. Here's the truth. After Thomas died, Mary went to Rhode Island and stayed there until her death on February 13th, 1814, at the age of 93. She lived quite the life. Her story ends in Rhode Island, but her body was buried in Henniker. But what about the Oceanborn Mary House? Why is it called that? The Oceanborn Mary House, the one I've been showing, is not her house. It did have connections to her. It was built by her son Robert, who lived there, but Mary never did. I read some articles about this story that said her and Robert didn't like each other, but most reports say she lived out the rest of her 20 years of life in Rhode Island. Wait, you're thinking, 20 years? I thought she was young when Thomas died. I'll get to that in a moment. There's even a few things I read where it said they actually moved Mary's childhood home from Henniker, New Hampshire, to Rhode Island for reasons unknown. Does she have ties to Henniker? Yes, but not to the house that claims her spirit resides, not to the Oceanborn Mary House either. Hans Holzer, as well as other paranormalists, may have thought they contacted Mary Wallace, but they were all looking in the wrong house. Reports say Mary was haunting her home in Rhode Island, but that home was burned to the ground in the 1920s and they never rebuilt it. But some say that the house that inhabits the location now may have the actual spirit of Oceanborn Mary there. Who knows for sure? So yes, this means Don Pedro never came back, and Don and Mary did live happily ever after in Henniker. That also means there was no treasure, no pirate buried underneath a hearth, or anything like that. Like I said, after Thomas died, that's where the story turns fiction. I just went over what actually happened with Mary Wallace. But who fabricated this story? Who created this legend that some people still willingly buy as truth, even though the evidence to contradict it is out in the open? I showed his picture earlier. This guy, Louis Roy. He was a photographer by trade and a legend fabricator as a side job, it seemed. He purchased the Oceanborn Mary House in 1917, heard of the story of Robert's mother, Mary Wallace, and from there created the story of Don Pedro returned to Mary after she had grown up and took care of her and her kids at his big mansion that he built. No, Mary's son Robert built the house, and Roy just spun the rest of Mary's tale, going from where Thomas died. He made it seem like Thomas died when Mary was still young, but Mary and Thomas actually weren't together for almost 50 years. Me and Mary was in her early 70s when Thomas died. So, yeah, when Thomas died, she wasn't this, tall, beautiful redhead with green eyes. She was quite old by this time. From here, she would have moved in with her son William to Rhode Island, but people bought Roy's story as fact for a long time. Roy had his mother, the one you've been seeing in these photographs I've been showing, reenacted older Mary's life in a supposed pirate house where treasure were hidden. He would also sell tickets to people to dig up his property, looking for the lost treasure. I'm willing to bet nobody ever found anything but fool's gold. Roy would keep this story going up until his death in 1965. Some reports say he confessed to the fabrication on his deathbed. When I found out that this story was fake, I was disappointed. I mean, New Hampshire has other great ghost legends and haunted locations that should be on every paranormal investigator's list. But the Oceanborn Mary story seemed like something out of a fantasy book, which made it even cooler. But it really was fantasy in the end. Even if most of it is made up, Mary Wallace did have an exciting origin story where a ruthless pirate had a change of heart. But that's the end of the Oceanborn Mary tale. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. And as you will see in the description, I do have links to basically the article which I wrote and I've been reading for this. Even though I've been stumbling over my words, I'm sorry, folks. If I'm talking freely like I am right now, I usually do pretty good with not stuttering, but for some odd reason when I read, I tend to trip over my words and stuff like that. So, I don't know, but I can't free roam this or whatever you want to call it because I would be going off at different tangents. I'd be forgetting. It wouldn't be linear. So that's why I write a script, because otherwise I wouldn't be linear with this stuff. And to the folks of Henniker, New Hampshire, I'm sorry I've been butchering the pronunciation of pronunciation, I should say, of your town. I swear I'm New Hampshire born and raised, but for some odd reason, I don't know, my tongue just doesn't want to say the word, just doesn't want to say it right. Maybe I am, I don't know. But anyway, keep it scary, folks, and I'll see you next week.